and they'll just put them in.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
The
that's
box of
good.
phone. Yo, throw that box. Just throw it.
And you'll just put it in fucking.
Not down the stairs.
Yeah, well, it's gonna go down the stairs. You said throw it.
I said don't
Where
throw
else
it
to
down the
go?
stairs. You throw it down the fucking stairs.
I just started pushing it behind a thing.
I can't wait to hear how that sounds.
Go.
Threw my box down the stairs and it's not my girlfriend.
Dream becomes real. So we should be at work right now.
Podcast.
I was already at work today.
I did not work today.
It sucked, didn't it?
I worked for 8 hours as well.
Yes.
That was pretty terrible. Did you start at 6? What time did you start at?
6.
Yeah, so did I.
Actually, I started at 5:45 so I could leave 15 minutes early.
I did leave 15 minutes early, actually. We did inventory of an entire building. It was fucking terrible.
Got a little bit of flexibility. It's kind of nice. Anyway.
Yeah, what were you talking about though with that guy?
Hello, this is episode number 1, if you were wondering.
This is episode 0.
Episode 0.
This
Coming
is the
at
pilot.
Yeah.
Hello,
Episode 0.
Aurora.
you. Alright, this one I think we're going to do work accidents and work mishaps. This is always a fun, dreary conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and if we say where we work, we're going to have to edit it out. 'Cause I need my job.
Well, most of us do.
Yeah, we're pretty broke.
We're doing a podcast in some dirty-ass apartment on the 3rd floor.
Dude, we got wood paneling.
Yes.
Awesome.
That's these lies.
I fucking love wood paneling.
It's
I-
one step above a trailer park.
I love
will
it,
say
dude.
that.
I think it's great. I used to have it in my own house.
It's a nice touch.
Yeah.
It's awesome. They need to bring it back. Bring some Palo Santo.
They don't need to bring
All the
it back.
trends come right back around, so it's gonna come back.
Do you guys like my popcorn ceiling too? That's
Nice.
a nice finish
Oh,
to
that's
it.
not that bad.
That's not too popcorny.
That it is popcorn ceiling.
No, it's
No.
not like falling
Dude,
off.
that ain't-
Yeah, that won't take
No,
the
it
fucking
is. That's
skin
why
off
he's
your
over there. I threw a
knuckles, bro.
pan. I threw
You
a
ever
pan.
get fucking whaled with some popcorn ceiling, dude? That shit sucks.
Somebody broke a piece of the ceiling off and hit you with it.
No, like if you scrape your hand against it.
Is this a drunk story?
No, just
No.
like that. If you rub yourself against that, it would fucking take your skin right off, man.
I don't think I've ever
Of
done
that?
Yeah, well, no,
Or
like
like
the
some
more
areas-
intense.
yeah,
the more
It depends
intense
how they
one.
apply it though too,
Yes.
because they do it with a thing and it actually makes sharp points. But we're talking about popcorn ceiling.
Yeah.
Super high grit sandpaper
Yeah.
ceiling.
yeah.
I think it needs more asbestos. That's why it's not very scrapey.
Asbestos. Anyway, speaking of toxic materials.
Love doing lines of it.
Yeah. I work for a company, which I will not name, that we handle tons and tons and tons upon tons, a stupid amount, one that you probably couldn't comprehend unless you've been there, of toxic materials.
Clean environment.
It can be, depending on who works in what
Is
department.
it like chemicals or something?
Well, yeah, it's chemicals.
Okay.
It's acid and lead,
Okay.
Yeah.
cadmium,
Ah.
antimony.
Stuff the
So
human
what do you
bodies
do?
really shouldn't be around.
So you just roll around in it all day.
Yeah, that's what we do. We get paid. We're all just guinea pigs. No. So it's a manufacturing company. We make stuff. That's all I'm going to say.
In America.
We can tell people where we are, right?
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
fun.
Well, we're in Eastern Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I'm not saying where I live, just in case any of you internet nuts go crazy
Oh.
and don't like what one of us has to say.
I'm from Reading.
I don't like you Eastern people.
Which I don't know why it's not pronounced reading. Maybe they're just really bad at reading.
I don't
you
think
know?
most of them can't out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's more teeth in this room than
Yeah.
there are in that entire area.
Yeah. More heads than teeth.
Anyway, so a lot of inbreeding going on out there.
Nice.
Maybe not now anymore, but definitely product of
They
inbreeding.
cleaned the place
Dude,
up a little
speaking
bit.
of which, we're talking about that. I thought this today at work while I was like counting stuff because we did like a whole inventory of just counting. I
That
thought in my
shit
head like,
sucks.
yeah, it was really terrible. I don't think I'll ever be a part of it again.
I'm glad I
But
never have to do that.
yeah, it fucking sucked ass. I hated it. But when I was just like listening to a podcast, and it's funny because people when they always say like they talk about like Southern people, they always make that like, yeah, down the shout here, like just like redneck voice. And I wonder like what do
Summer
people
her sweet
what
tea.
do people think of people from like Pennsylvania? Do they think we're all like like
like what's the
like hillbilly coal miner inbred
In the
or something?
middle.
Yeah.
Like,
In the middle,
what's
yeah.
what's
Black
the
faces,
impersonation?
black dusted faces.
That's
being in the
what I
mines.
always thought. Like,
Getting the black lung.
Yeah.
because people down south aren't all just fucking stupid rednecks. I mean, it's like a stereotype.
Well, they're
Like,
either really
what's the
nice or
Pennsylvania
they're
stereotype?
really stupid.
Well, yeah, true.
There's
But
like
We all wear flannel.
yeah.
is that?
It is.
No, but seriously, have you ever heard a Pennsylvania stereotype? Like, I haven't.
I mean,
In the middle, but like
Amish.
arrogant
Yeah,
people in
Amish,
Philly.
Yeah,
Arrogant Philly people.
but I mean, like an overall born like
Pittsburgh's
South
like
people.
I mean, there's
chili heads.
they say like the Hicks too. They say like
Yeah.
the Hicks for Pennsylvania too, but like
in the middle, like
Well,
like
okay.
Altoona.
So there is
Altoona.
there is a lot of Hicks in Pennsylvania. It's crazy. So like you're in our area here, and you go out west a little bit, like 30 minutes away, and it's
Yeah,
like
Wilkes-Barre.
Yeah.
Like
That's
all
why I
that.
was saying
Yeah.
that.
You
Like,
know what I mean?
You go anywhere direction away from like
Banger.
the coast over here.
Banger cousin.
Yeah, Banger's fucked.
Dude,
Uh,
there was
Hazelton.
Hazelton.
That's
someone said a weird joke about Banger, and then like they made like a joke about Bristol, like Banger.
personally I like Dover.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was.
Dover,
You
Delaware.
fucking lost the
Dover.
punchline. So back to workplace injuries.
Okay.
So I'm actually in safety at my job.
Are you safe?
I am.
Okay, that's good.
I've done some dumb shit that I didn't realize I did until after I've done it. And you see people doing all kinds of dumb shit, but today we had a straight up accident. No one at fault. Maybe someone's at fault, but we're never going to find out. So there's a lot of ventilation where I work to get dust away from people, to evacuate dust out of the area so it's not so you're not breathing it in while you're working with it. Now there is a little bit of lead and air, but that ventilation curbs that lead and air to a tremendous amount that you're not getting nearly as much of the lead that you would by breathing in.
Yeah, that's the good stuff though.
So anyway, there's a lot of duct work hanging from the ceilings. There's all kinds of duct work, right? And today a piece of that duct work fell on an employee and crushed the shit out of him. And it's from what I
Well, you said this
it was
earlier.
big. It was big.
I thought the guy died because when you hear
It
like
sounded
he crushed
when the
yeah,
call
he
went
did.
out. Yeah, when the call went out, it was like, oh fuck.
So
you
you
know what I
have
mean?
because you're
Like,
safety, you have to report on the
well, I
scene.
have to do. I don't have to report on the scene, but I do have to go and find out what happened.
Okay, and then you ask the
Did you
people
see
that
him?
seen it or whatever.
Right.
You
I talked to a lot of people today, and my boss showed up too, and he kind of the poor dude that witnessed it. He was the only guy that was there when it happened. He made the guy relive it again after I made him relive it again. So this dude's like, breathe in and like, and I'm like, dude, all right, like, hey, like, and then my boss even said too, he's like, we do have employee assistance programs to, if you need some help, which the guy was kind of like, he put his face on like, oh, ain't no pussy, you know what I mean? But it was like,
Dude, it's like
but obviously,
Where
dude.
did he get hit?
Well, his buddy got hurt. You know what I mean? That's his friend. It's not just his coworker.
Well, they
you know.
work next to each other, right?
Right, and this piece of ductwork fell because usually what the ductwork, there's like a bracket of like C-strutting, like that strut metal stuff with hole in it that you can attach bolts to, and
Yeah.
And what is it attached to the actual wall or is it
yeah,
attached?
it's from the ceiling. There's like two pieces of like rod.
yeah,
and
yeah.
it'll be like go across, and then the ventilation is bolted together by
Yeah,
flanges too. So like if you ever look at any like HVAC system, you can see it.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
some of our ductwork is square, some of it's circular. It depends.
Oh,
on,
that whole thing fell?
not like the entire thing, but a piece of it.
Well, that's what I mean, it fell
like
off.
a big like 4 foot long.
How does that happen?
like a couple hundred? Well, I'm getting there.
Okay.
So
So
this
you're like a
guy
private
is hurt.
investigator.
Yeah.
Not private. But yeah, and then like everybody's shaken up, and then you go talk to people, and everybody's got a different fucking story. So you got to piece together a story, and you can't go over with an objective and say like, well, who did this? Because nobody did it.
Well, yeah.
Sometimes it is somebody's fault, but it's like this was.
The infrastructure is falling apart, man.
Well, it was in our oldest building.
Oh, okay.
It was built in.
Is there multiple
the
buildings?
late 50s. Oh fuck yeah, we got like 25.
Dude, it's like a
buildings in the
fucking compound.
Yeah.
But where
It's
did this guy get
fucking
hit with this
ridiculous.
thing? Like,
It fell. It kind of like swung down and like smacked him off of a scissor lift. He was on like the staircase.
Oh, so it was like still attached, and
Right.
it just
oh,
like
just, well,
Yeah, and they were taking it down,
oh
and they were under the impression that the bracket with the C strut was still there,
yeah.
and wasn't.
Or,
So they think it was holding it up, and then
They
as soon
thought
as it loosened
something was
it,
holding
and then
it
it
up,
fell off,
and then
at
fell,
that
it
point.
swung down, hit the guy, knocked him to the floor, and then fell on top of him.
Dude, but
And there was a shitload of lead dust built up in it. And lead is very heavy. If anyone has ever held it, lead is a very heavy metal. It's a very soft
Yeah,
metal.
heavy metal.
Yeah. but yeah, it's really heavy, and even like dust of lead, like particles, can add up over time if that ductwork isn't being cleaned routinely. It gets.
I'm sure it's not just like any company. They don't do everything they're supposed to.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure if you looked in apartment buildings, fucking HVAC systems, there'd be all kinds of shit in the ducts, because it's not like they have like routine maintenance coming
Yeah,
in.
they're not,
you know
only if
what I
there's a
mean?
problem.
Right, exactly. But that's not
Preventative maintenance.
that's not
man,
nearly
that's
as
what you gotta
dangerous.
do.
You know what I mean? Because that ductwork's hung up by like studs and framework. You know, this is just hanging from the fucking ceiling, because you never know when. Okay, this machine's gone now, so we got to rip down all this shit. So they need easy access to it. You know what I mean? We're gonna put a new machine in here, so we're just got to take all the guts out too. You know?
Yeah.
So this guy gets hit, and the first thing I think is like, who did it? Because that's just where my brain goes.
Who the fuck did it?
Yeah, because people
Whose
are
fault?
well. The other injuries we have, it's somebody's fucking fault usually.
Yeah,
it's always.
yeah.
It's always
But is that
Someone being
before
careless.
somebody explained what the situation was, or?
Yeah, and I was like, what the fuck? So the call went out. We have pagers for like our ERT, which is
Nice.
emergency response team, and also hazmat. Some hazmat member.
They get jealous when they
Hate
see
being
you
on the
with your
fucking
mobile
hazmat
phone.
team.
Yeah, I don't gotta do anything.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you probably don't really have anything too toxic either. Maybe you do.
Coolant and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
but do you have like fucking 10 million gallons of it and built? You know what I
No,
mean?
the only thing we have is like
no.
paint and like hardener and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean that stuff isn't good.
I mean, dude,
you
but
know?
lead is really fucking terrible. Like,
Yeah, that is.
I deal a lot with like, or I did like brass. Brass is really bad to breathe in. Bronze is really bad to breathe in. But lead is fucking 10 times the worst.
Well, it's
dude.
a particle of metal that's not supposed to be in your lungs.
That's what
know,
that's
like-
how you make brass though too. Brass has lead in it.
Yeah.
Just
And
like tobacco.
people that were smelting
Yeah.
brass down where I used to work, they wouldn't wear masks. And this one guy, like,
Yeah,
he's
I'm too
been there
cool.
for like 30 years. He was just shaking all the time. I was like, what the hell's wrong with that guy? They're like, yeah, he used to like smoke like brass and stuff without wearing a mask. And I was like, what a fucking idiot,
fucking
dude.
stupid.
I'll tell you just like a sidebar here. Like I did a temp job the one time I was going between jobs, and there was these two guys. yeah.
Fucking loser.
No, this is a while ago. I got laid off and whatever.
Is that what you told your girlfriend?
I didn't have a girlfriend at the time, and I was getting
Oh, man.
I was getting
I'm
laid
sorry.
way more.
I'm just.
So, anyways, but like there was like a paint booth, and like you would have to clean it, and when you were cleaning it, and I was only there for a week because I was like, this is literally slave work. But I went in, I was just
What job is it?
no, this was like honestly, I did it just to pay my fucking phone bill. To be honest.
Like,
Because I was like,
Keep the ladies covered.
no, but whatever. Like, say whatever you want. Say whatever you want. I'm cool with that. But
be able to swipe left.
But there was these two guys, and they were like, when it would come down to cleaning the paint booth, they were just raking all this built up like paint, and just no mask, and like they're just breathing it all in. I'm like, dude, what are you? Why? And nobody cares. They don't even they didn't even provide that.
like
I was just about to ask you that.
No,
So
and
they probably had a shitty safety
and it's like,
program.
dude, and I was like, how long have you been working here? And they're like, 5 years. How long have you been doing?
I think I remember you actually
Yeah.
telling me about this.
And I was like, how many times have you done this without wearing a mask? And he barely spoke English, but like,
yeah, that's why he doesn't have a mask.
No.
but you imagine like all that dust
Dude,
just kicking in your face, like all that paint debris.
and you're
And-
breathing it in all the time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and there's a lot of places that don't have any. You don't even have access to your SDS, which is a safety data sheet, like which should come with every single chemical.
Oh, those binders that are on the wall. That
Yeah,
nobody
you
looks at?
should look
Yeah.
at them, man. You never know. You
Isn't that
could
like
be
shit
working
like
with something that
MSDS and stuff.
it used
like
to be
that?
called the MSDS.
That's
now
what
it's
I
the
remember it
SDS.
as.
The
Okay.
HAZCOM standard has
Yeah, but
changed.
I know a lot of
So-
smaller companies because they don't like OSHA doesn't come in as often. They do, but like bigger companies that make more money, that have more employees, they're more strict on with.
Right, because they have an ISO certification.
Yes, and they have certain
So-
things they have to follow when they're
Right.
like say like if you're manufacturing something, you need like a standard to follow by or something like that. But
I love-
smaller companies, they don't give a fuck.
Oh yeah, and I love
not at all.
like you'll see like stuff like people doing unsafe stuff, and you're just like, yeah, OSHA would love this, man. Like people standing on pallets and then they're lifting the person up on
Yeah,
a
like
forklift.
I've done that before.
I've done it.
I mean, we've
too.
all-
Yeah, like
I'm
lift
sure
lift
you
me
got
up. I'm
stupid
like,
shit, but
okay,
it's
man,
It's
shouldn't
like,
be doing
where's
this.
the person that's supposed to be watching these people? Because you
Sometimes
know
the
that people are
boss
going
is
to do
cool.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes the
Well, the boss is like, yeah, whatever.
That's-
Doesn't even say anything.
That's a huge problem in a lot of workplaces.
Well,
is
there's
the
only-
boss is telling you to do something that you shouldn't be doing.
I've seen
you
that.
give them the cold shoulder and you turn around and say, my mom's
you
calling.
fucking know you lose your job, though.
Dude,
in some
but no,
places,
but
you know what I
the
mean?
thing that's retarded, that every time I've ever seen that is only at a union places. Like, I've never seen that at, like, a private company where, like, if you did that, you'd be fired immediately. But, dude, the shit I've seen at, like, a union shop, being, like, a machinist, dude, some of the shit's like, wow, dude, you would totally get fired if you were doing that anywhere
You're
else.
in the union, so you can't get fired, right?
Well, but, you know, you can.
You
It's-
can, but
you
it's...
have to like whip your dick out and run around, and you can still
No, you-
defend
yeah.
yourself.
I don't think you still won't get fired for that.
I think you'd have to do that and have cocaine in your system. And then they'd bring you back after
Yeah, we're like,
a month.
we're gonna have to give
And
you
an
a
investigation.
week suspension.
It is crazy how much you can get away with. Like,
There was
but-
there was 1 week we had like we weren't doing any production or whatever, and somebody ran over 5 different poles with a forklift.
Did you say somebody
Dude,
hit like
how-
a staircase or something too?
So
How
what,
are you-
happen- what happens to these people then? Like,
Well,
does,
these are all they're all like,
does a guy like me come around with his fucking clipboard and
honestly.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Excuse
Just
me.
give them a piss
Oh,
test
guys,
and
what
whatever.
happened here?
They're all like
What
new
happened?
people, and they're people that aren't. They're not like they don't have any history in forklift driving, which I used to not. When I first drove a forklift, I actually ran into a cubicle, and
Dude, I remember you telling me
I
about
ran
that.
into a cubicle, and then it was right at the end of the shift, but I was doing a high reach. And there was supposed to be a guy watching me. First day, he's talking to all the employees. He's like just
yeah, dude,
hanging
he's
out.
training, man.
Yeah.
It's an easy day for him.
He's
Fuck,
hanging
I'm a
out.
trainee, dude. I don't have to do shit
He's
today.
supposed to be doing it for a week. So at the end of the shift, I'm going to the top rack, which is pretty high. It's the highest part of the high reach. And I get it down. I put it where it needs to go. But there was a cubicle with an awning over top of it, and I'm not used to with the big boom on it. Ran right into it. Fucking made the cubicle just go completely off the wall and shit. And I was like, well, my work here is done because I was like, nobody's around. I'm just gonna park the forklift. I come in.
Like, oh, what happened?
I come in the next day and there's a freaking meeting going on, and I'm already running late, so that's already good. The guy that made the
guy that
problem.
damaged a fucking...
And
That's
so
insane.
they were talking about it, and I was like,
hilarious.
I was laughing. I was like, whatever, whatever. And then my boss did like a sidebar with me, and I was like, I tried to deny it. He got it out of me. He's like, yeah, whatever. And I was like, listen, it was my first day on the forklift. I was by myself. How much am I at fault? Like, honestly, I'm the one doing it. And then maybe like,
Still should have somebody there fucking...
absolutely.
You know,
Yeah,
and then maybe
yeah.
like
watching you
Yeah,
and
yeah.
try and say, like, you know, hey,
And then,
stop.
like,
You're like, don't do that.
maybe like a month after that, I was good with it then, and I was picking something up, and a bearing busted off. It was just like a
Mechanical problem.
and the bearing came and hit the shield, the glass window shield, shattered, and I was like, what the fuck just happened?
Oh, dude,
And
now I would have shit
so
my
I-
pants.
And they got it out of a load. I put something back, and then I was bringing it down, and they're like, "What'd you do, man? You hit a cubicle again?" I was like, "No, it's not me this time." And, it freaked me out. I was like worried about it for like a
They
week.
probably gave you shit for it, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's funny that you say that you didn't know what happened. Is the guys today had no idea what happened either.
That's what
the
you
two
mean.
that were there, and then all the guys in that department that were around when it happened didn't see it,
Yeah.
but they were like, "Yeah, we heard a big loud bang,
Yeah.
and there's a guy on the floor
Yeah.
with a piece of fucking."
Was he bleeding?
I supposedly was, yeah. See, they don't really give us too many details about a medical injury, but I can imagine. I heard there was some crushing of the abdomen.
Yeah, if you're gonna, I mean, there
Like
might
some
not
nasty,
be an
That's
internal.
guts,
yeah.
man.
There was a bloody respirator.
You want your guts?
There was a bloody respirator. I saw that, and I had to tell somebody the proper way to clean it up, and then some fucking guys. Well, I'm cleaning it up. Are you fucking certified for bloodborne pathogens? Why do I need that? It's just blood.
You
Like,
throw
It's just blood.
because you don't know what this fucking guy has, man. You're walking with your bare hands. You want to touch something bloody with somebody else's blood.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Don't make me
like,
bleed my
and
own
then,
blood.
and then, you know, so in my field, when you say something like that to somebody, you just get this look all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you fucking pussy.
Yeah.
And it's like, listen, I understand that you're not afraid of this, and most likely nothing is going to happen to you.
Neanderthals, man, cavemen.
But like,
mentality.
yeah, you have to take a step back and look. It's like, so if this happens to you, what are you gonna do? You're gonna sue the company,
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah,
Especially
and
when
then
it's a
that-
different
they don't
story
ever
when you're
think about
outside
that,
of work
though. Yeah.
or something like that. Obviously, like, you know.
So you have to document it. It's like a crime scene, basically, but not.
Yeah,
pretty
but
much.
not,
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
So I'm trying to figure out what happened here, and I saw the piece that fell on him, and it was like, you know, it was big. It had a lot of dust in it. It looked like it weighed quite a bit.
Rather
Supposedly it
durable.
took 4 guys or 5 guys to pick it up and move it. So, I mean, this is the kind of shit that can happen, and people don't really realize, like, you know, you get so complacent at work, you kind of just, you go to work and you do your job.
Fade in and fade out.
Right. And, like, you know, you're working with some heavy fucking machinery, man. Like, you could die. Or
Yeah.
lose your hand, lose your finger, crush bones.
People don't realize that
That's
shit
like
on a day-to-day basis.
Till it
They don't even
happens.
think about it.
You
Till
don't
it
think
happens.
about it when you're driving your car either. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
It's a fucking giant metal.
You don't think about it when you
fuselage.
get in a car. You don't think about it when you get in a train. You don't think about it when you get on a bus. Anything like
How
that.
often do you get in a train?
I actually have been on a train numerous times.
Yeah, Aaron Express in
I mean, I've
Pittsburgh,
been-
man.
I mean,
But, I mean, whenever I'm in Philly, I
this
take
is
a train.
well, this is America. I mean, we don't believe in public transportation.
Absolutely not.
So,
Everyone needs a
Rip
4x4.
Rip apart
Gas
the trolley
guzzling.
system.
So I have to suppress my inner fucking like psycho all the time at work because I always have some guy looking
Can't
at me
get
like
snippy
that.
with him.
Yeah, looking at me like that, or telling me that I'm wrong, or like, why do I have to do that? We never had to do that before.
Yeah,
It's not like
people
it's gonna
don't like
happen.
change.
Do they
though.
not know that
no,
you don't
I
make
have
the
that
rules
same-
regardless?
No,
Like,
they act like I do, but the problem is too is there are people that did my job before me that were
yeah.
lenient as
They-
fuck.
yeah.
Like they weren't even doing their job.
So now I'm this douchebag college kid.
Yeah.
I did go to college, not for long.
How'd that work out?
I went for a little bit.
Yeah, I still work in a fucking factory.
I went to college.
But no,
and
I got all-
lousy debt.
So I got this, you know, I work this job and these guys are looking at me like I'm that kid, like I don't know shit. What the hell do I know?
You're too wet behind the ears. You can't hear what they're saying.
Yeah. And,
Too wet behind the ears.
You know, today with the whole don't touch the bloody respirator, it was like,
But I wanna.
yeah, why do I have to do what you tell me? It's like, because I don't want you to fucking get AIDS if the guy has AIDS or if he has Hep C or whatever the fuck. Like, and plus, like, it's a company policy, you know, like, as fucking lame as that sounds, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta follow it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
And,
there to
if you don't
protect
follow-
them and to
yeah.
protect you.
If you don't follow procedure, then you're the one that's gonna get fucked in the long run.
And
If it comes down to that.
everybody's got a work story. Like, if you've worked in factories and
Yeah.
industry, like, everybody's got a story, or
Restaurant, hospitality.
It's
The worst.
Yikes. Yeah, you
the soup kitchen massacre.
whip.
I
Yeah,
don't know. I
exactly.
can tell you, dude. I have
Whipping
multiple
up that
stories,
pasta.
Yeah.
like
Throwing
running
knives at
machines.
doors.
Yeah.
I don't know if like you guys. Do you guys know what like an engine lathe is? What it looks like? You might know
I
what it
do,
looks.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Let me actually.
I am unaware.
The reason I bring this up is because I used to run an engine lathe and I was horrified of it. And one day this guy's like, you know what you should check out? LatheAccidents.com.
Shit.
Just
People make a fucking
Just-
goddamn website.
Oh,
for it?
dude, are we gonna watch like?
No, I'm not gonna watch anything.
Just get a diagram of what it is. I don't want to see fucking
I mean, I don't care.
skull crushing.
I think it's actually called LatheAccidents.com. So let me just type that
That's
in. But
original.
Gee, what do I want to look at today?
Yeah.
Let me check this
No,
website
definitely not.
out.
This is
Yeah.
actually a safety podcast.
Yeah.
well, I can't. I'll just bring up a
Don't
picture of
crush
an
your
engine
fingers,
lathe.
'cause if you
But
crush your fingers,
Listen,
you
we're gonna
can't
need,
jerk
we're
off.
gonna need you to go to work on Monday and be really safe, guys.
Yeah, seriously. Oh, that's
Oh, okay.
that's
I
the
think I
unit.
understand.
yeah, so just a quick look at this. I ran ones that were like way bigger.
Oh well, yeah.
Then
Every
this-
lathe is basically
Yeah,
the same.
where this spins right here, you have like
a chucked up piece of material right here, and you would bring it in. Like I run CNC now. I don't fuck with this shit anymore.
Yeah.
But so many people
CNC basically does everything for you.
You
right?
program it. You
Yeah.
program the machine, so you're doing all that. But running these, this shit's old as fuck. And like when that shit's spinning, like I would be deburring my parts over top of it with my hands, like, and my arms would be over
So
top
that's
of
like
it.
an older
That's
version.
fucking terrible.
And this thing's spinning.
This is like an older version.
This is an actual engine lathe.
no, actually, it's a Japanese version.
Well, most of them are Japanese though.
I think we have those at
I think
my
that's
job,
Chinese.
but there's
Well,
always
whatever
a-
it is, but yeah.
There's no
Where's
cranky old man behind it.
Well, that's usually what happens. And
Yeah.
the one guy, I was deburring a part, and he's like, "Why?" Like the old engineer from
Yeah.
the '70s, like, "Why are you doing it like that?" I'm like, "Well, how am I supposed to do it?" He's like, "You gotta put your arm over top of it."
You gotta
I was like,
ask-
"Dude, I'm not trying to get my fucking arm ripped
You
off."
gotta ask him why he had a mullet when he was younger.
Well, yeah, that's,
He doesn't have the answer.
but with shit like that, like,
and then you gotta ask him why he still has that. Movie.
Yeah, exactly.
so many people that have ran shit like this got their arms ripped off. I've heard of a story of like a CNC when you have a bar hanging out the back, and if it sticks out too far, when it spins, it will swing.
Yeah.
And one guy walked in front of it, it swung up, knocked his head clean off. Another guy in a CNC was in between here, and he didn't lock out the machine.
Yeah.
And someone went by and hit it.
Lockout, tag out.
There you
And-
go. You said it.
Yeah, lock out, tag out, and it closed, and it crushed his body against the carriage here.
So what model
And
are we
back
looking
there.
at? We're looking at the
That's
360
that's
1000.
that's
Look
the
at the
CO 6236. That's a classic model.
It's a
It's
36
very
by
good.
1000.
Comes with the lamp and a coolant line. It's very good.
Wait,
But
is that a coolant line?
that's a coolant line right up there, yeah.
What the fuck does that do when you get hot?
No, when you cut metal, dude, there's friction. You need a fucking coolant
you
line.
gotta
It's
cool it
cooling on the
down.
metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a.
I'm
it's
kidding.
A fucking,
Dude, come on.
Like, what does that do?
If you're gonna fall for
spray-
that
yeah,
trap,
it's like-
it's so hot.
Jeez,
it's so
it's hot in here.
if you're gonna fall for that trap,
I usually just bring
you're,
a car door with me so I can roll the window.
no AC, man.
Ooh, that was a dad joke. Shit.
Dude, but the worst one with the forklift one I've heard.
Oh God.
One guy was telling me that I used to work with when I was working at a union shop, which was the best shop I've ever worked at because it was union. Just saying. But fucking scabs. But the guy was coming around. Someone was doing something on the bottom shelf and shipping, and a guy came around the corner with a forklift with his forks all the way down, but like probably about 3 inches above.
Yeah.
And it was tipped up instead of tipped down where it would scrape into something. And the guy was down. He came around the corner and he didn't beep his horn. The guy didn't know he was there.
Right in the ankles.
Took his ankles right off, both legs. And the guy that was running the machine that was telling me about this, he's like, all I heard was blood curdling and screaming. And he's like, I ran over there, and he's like, dude, I almost passed out looking at the dude. And like the face he was making while he was laying there screaming,
man.
his blood. I was like, bro, I'm so glad I'd never seen someone. He's like, yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. Like, it's
Mom's
not
are
good.
Sweaty, mom's spaghetti. Fuck.
Yeah, stuff like that. And I've only ever heard a lot of stories about really bad things happening to people, but it's nothing's
like PowerPoint presentations, and you're like,
yeah. No, I
whatever, man, just give me the money.
I think like that's a semi-useful tactic. Like scare some people, show you
Videos is
should
what.
show people some fucking gore, man.
Yeah.
Like look what can happen to you. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Don't be complacent. But the problem is too, even if they know that and they're good for a while,
They'll do it anyway.
well, it's not even the fact that they'll do it
You get
anyway.
comfortable.
You get comfortable. When you get comfortable, the same thing in machining. You get comfortable, that's when something bad happens.
Yeah.
If you're always scared of that, it most likely won't happen. When you're like, man, fuck God, you shit, and like you're just doing stuff, you're gonna get fucking hurt. The chance of getting hurt goes up so much compared to like, if you're always like, man, I don't know, I'm a little iffy on doing this, then most likely nothing will happen.
Yeah. You can't be afraid though at the same time either. You know.
You have to be.
You gotta respect the hazard.
Yes, you
Yeah.
have to respect it and not be complacent with it. If
Don't
you're not
get
complacent,
cocky.
yeah.
So a lot of people view guys like me that do our jobs that we just.
What do you mean, guys like you?
Well, safety guys, you know. We're
The
fucking-
elite.
We're just fucking douchebags that are walking around getting people in trouble. And it's like, well, yeah, you might get in trouble.
Yeah.
You might, you know. Especially if you fucking mouth off to me after, you know.
I'll beat you.
Yeah,
So you're like the
You see
top
the
of
middle
your
beam, I'm
work.
gonna beat you with it.
Strike you down.
yeah, sort of.
Yeah, you're definitely.
Oh, come on, don't put it. I fucking.
But
hate
that's the way you just said it. You were like, I'm like, he's like the cop of his work. He's just like,
kind of, yeah.
He's a
you better not
detective.
Yeah.
You might not get in trouble though, but you're gonna get chewed out. You know what I mean? You might not get like a.
Wait till I catch you in the shower.
Touche. Yeah.
I only shower in the one building, so
Nice.
I don't have that building either. So you know, we figured out what happened to this guy. that there was that it was.
A lot of moist baloney.
We're going back. Yeah, we're going.
All right.
We're going back to this. We figured out what happened to this gentleman.
Why couldn't it be a woman?
They didn't realize it wasn't a hand because it was a guy. There's plenty of women that work for us.
Some people.
We got some
bring that
very
stuff
hardworking
What
women, man.
what
Yeah.
what if it was before the transition? I'm just saying.
Let's not go there.
Yeah.
Yet. I don't ever want to talk about that on this show.
Why?
Yeah. Because I don't.
Cut your hog off.
Yeah, because
Ain't
you know
Olympics,
why?
baby.
Because you know why? No matter how we jump around it, we're gonna get in trouble.
Somebody's
You're not gonna get, dude.
Not
I
in
don't
trouble,
give a
not-
fuck about
Not in
that.
trouble, but no matter how, like, because I'm totally open to it. But if you know,
like
Hey, listen,
sexually.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I don't
No.
care.
Oh,
But-
no.
Dude, the way I see this is I don't care, but you can't tell me I can't joke about it. You can't tell me that.
Because no, but
You
people
absolutely
will
cannot
use
tell
There's
me
plenty of
Yeah,
things that people
I'm
joke
livid.
about that
Yeah.
are funny.
Yeah.
I'm
Worse.
livid. I'm fuming.
Yeah, it's like,
Get labeled.
how dare you?
We'll get labeled real quick with that one.
Just relax.
bunch of fucking four fucking white guys. Fucking.
I'm actually part Mexican.
Yeah, it's okay though.
It's so great.
What?
No, we
Just
really
relax,
needed that.
man.
I'm the safety right here in this room.
Now we can say whatever we want.
We are culturally diverse. No, so we figure out what happens to this dude after the
We
different.
needed you to offset the whiteness of this.
So and then what happens then is you just kind of just go about the rest of your day. You just kind of just do your
Eat
job.
your egg salad.
Your
Continue
salad
on.
sandwich.
It's crazy. Like it just things go back to normal, and it's like so. I give my boss the report. He goes and tells whoever. I mean, he's way higher up than me, so I'm sure he's calling agencies and stuff and reporting it. OSHA probably needs to hear about it.
Yeah, they're
Probably
gonna come in
preparing
and do
for
an
it, too.
entire investigation.
But you know what? They mostly don't,
Yeah,
That's
unless someone like calls and says some shit.
yeah.
you know
Usually,
what I mean?
someone complains. If someone
Yeah.
complains, like a
Yeah.
worker will complain anonymously, and then they will come in
that's
to
just
check shit
fucking-
out.
Like it's not like
Just
OSHA goes around to
laziness.
every shop in the country and checks.
well, no, they do surprise things.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then it's
But they're
like-
not even surprised because they always
No,
tell
they
someone.
always tell someone.
Yeah,
And
it's
I've
never a
always
surprise.
experienced
Which is
places-
weird.
I've always
Yeah, it's like it's a surprise, but they can do it like 2
set
weeks
up.
ago.
I've always experienced places like OSHA's coming next week. Hide all the
Yeah, and
It's like, why don't you just put those in place? And
because
then
that
you
costs
don't have-
money. That's not how companies work.
No, but
companies
there's
don't.
been times where like there's a whole bunch of junk on the floors, and they'll just put them in.
Oh my god, the
that's
box is
good.
falling. Yo, throw that box. Just throw it.
And you'll just put it in fucking.
Not down the stairs.
Yeah, well, it's gonna go down the stairs. You said throw it.
I said
There's
don't
nowhere
throw
else
it
to
down the
go.
stairs. You throw it down the fucking stairs.
I just started
Can't
pushing
wait.
it behind a thing.
I can't wait to hear how that sounds.
Go.
Threw my box down the stairs, and it's not my girlfriend.
Oh boy.
Anyway,
It's called a joke.
so you just go about your day, and then like that one guy that witnessed it is going to remember it forever. The guy it happened to is going to remember it forever.
You're not though, because you didn't see it happen.
No, but I'm going to know that it happened, and now like every time I walk over a fucking piece of ductwork, which is literally
Every day.
all the time. when
Yeah,
you're
but
on
you
the
said
phone.
somebody.
Hard
You
hat
said
on.
somebody
Put a full
took.
face helmet.
You said somebody took something off and it was.
Yeah, it was taken off
holding
though.
it.
Like you.
Yeah, but they didn't take it off today. It wasn't even there.
Well, no, it wasn't there at all, but it was still bolted in though.
But they were taking down the
So this
ductwork.
thing was.
They were
this-
actually
this
working
one
on
piece
it.
of it. This 4-foot section of it was literally hanging up by fucking prayer, like by the bolts of the ductwork.
Nice, living on a prayer about Joey.
So that's why those brackets are there in the first place, because just in case the bolts fail,
Yeah.
there's something to catch
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
But it's a safety move, but anyway.
It wasn't very safe.
So I'm going around, and, you get all these stories and shit, and now I know as soon as I go to work on Monday morning, everyone's going to ask me about it.
yeah, it's
happened to so
I have people in my department, the other safety people that are EMTs, they work for an ambulance corps, they're volunteer firefighters. Cause
So they make no money,
Right.
and so they want to know what happened. I
they
mean, there's
fucking texted me. They heard about it over their scanners because they're like horny for like police scanners and shit.
Oh,
They're like, what happened?
That's
What
true.
happened? I'm like, I don't fucking know. Who was it? Like, dude, just wait till
You
Monday.
should just tell him a name like it was John.
the guy got a finger stuck in his ass.
Yeah.
You wanna
John
know
was
more?
picking too
It's
hard.
super annoying because it's like, first of all, like, you're not at work. Second of all, it's like, is this entertainment to you, or like, are you worried that it's somebody that you know? Or-
No, it's
You know,
mostly entertainment.
yeah, it's like, you're fucking nosy, and that's like where you're getting your excitement. And like ambulance chasers, you ever see that shit?
What the fuck is that?
What is
know,
that on the
ambulance
History Channel?
Yeah, is it on the History Channel? I feel like that would be the place where it's at.
Animal Planet.
Yeah. Does it matter? Every channel has
Never-
reality
It's either that or
TV.
Discovery Channel.
Yeah.
You guys really never heard of ambulance chasers?
No.
Dude,
I don't
what the
watch cable.
fuck is that?
No, they have. Okay, it's people that like have a scanner, you know, and they're listening.
And they chase
Oh,
ambulances to
it's
see
like
what.
Oh yeah,
Storm
they try and
chase,
like
yeah,
they
hear the
try and
call.
find
That's
calls.
and they go and they follow like where the fucking ambulance
Yeah.
Is that like
Yeah.
that movie? Like what was it, Nightcrawler or some shit like
yeah,
that?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
was that?
Is that what it was called?
Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yeah.
Nightcrawler, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of when you're
Netflix
saying
original. I think.
Yeah.
Maybe
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's not.
that. No, that wasn't Netflix original, but
But
not
anyways,
really.
yeah, like
I thought that movie was gonna be more than what it was.
Yeah, it wasn't really that. I mean, it was
say I
okay.
haven't
It was
seen
all
that.
right, but it wasn't.
it's
Dude, it's a fucking old movie now. How have you
Yo,
like? I haven't
it's
seen
like
it
3
yet.
years
Yo,
old.
is that what
2
you were
years
talking
old.
about, the ritual?
Yeah, did you watch?
Yeah.
I thought that was
Say
really
anything
good.
about that. I want to see that.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's
d-
cool.
We'll discuss that then.
And,
Let's go to that
Open
because
House.
Well,
I
the
started-
open house. I want to watch.
Yeah.
it.
I didn't.
It was okay. It was
I started
okay.
watching it last night and I fell asleep
Let's
because I can't
let's
fucking.
stay on work
yeah,
stories.
Well,
let's
yeah.
stay on this first
So,
and then we'll go to that
you
because
guys have
that's a really
no
fun
Awful
topic.
You guys have these awful forklift stories, and like there's forklift accidents, but we have walkie riders, we have forklifts, we have stack trucks, and
You walkie riders, man. If you fucking.
I don't know what
if
is a
you
walk.
turn 'em
What is
side-
a
it's
walkie
like
rider?
riding pallet jack.
Yeah, like there's a spot for you to stand and you're on the side.
That just sounds lazy.
They're
if you
dangerous as fuck.
And
If you turn
dangerous.
those
Lazy and
babies
dangerous.
Completely sideways and just whale the.
Will it
freaking
flip it?
throttle.
Yeah, you'll just fucking spin around in circles
Oh.
and then you'll fly off. So
Yeah,
don't do that.
You'll
but-
definitely fly off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't condone.
There's
that.
no. Yeah, I know. I'm not. I've seen videos.
So what we get with those a lot is broken tibias. People stick their leg out, hang their foot off,
That's a
Yeah.
fucking
pin
great idea.
themselves. It's a 9,000-pound machine. Dude.
And there's
Like,
there's no restraints. There's nothing blocking your.
It's just you can fly off.
Extremity.
So
from-
if I see someone driving one,
You beat him with a stick.
no. If I
Nice.
see someone driving one and their foot's hanging off, I'll say, "Hey, can you please keep both your feet on the platform?"
What
at
if
all
What if he
times?"
says, "Hey, can you put my foot in there for me?" What would you say then?
I would
You going to the
I'd
office?
probably walk away.
You're going to the office.
Get up to the
I don't
principal's
have that
office.
kind of power. Don't-
Get
don't have
going.
anywhere close.
You're just like there.
All
to,
I
like,
can do is write
guide-
it down on
yeah,
paper.
yeah. Guide
That's it.
people.
And then I tell
warned him.
somebody else that's higher
Yeah.
up in the company than me.
It's like
And
I
then
warned
they
him.
decide
He didn't
The way
follow
you're making
through.
it-
If there's an accident that happens, he's fucked, not you. 'Cause
The way that you're making it sound is that you're just one big asshole at work.
No.
I'm just kidding.
You see his face
He's
like,
like,
it's like
that might be
Wow.
true.
Well, I do other things too, like with people with the nature of their jobs. We have some really ergonomically.
Do you do like any 5S'ing or anything?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
like make
Yeah.
their jobs easier.
Yeah, and we do that too, and we have some ergonomic nightmares for jobs that we coach people on their best practices to do the job without it. Like, you know, this might not hurt your hands as much if you do it this way. This might not be so hard on your
I ain't
back.
no pussy. I'm doing it.
See,
the
but
way
a lot of
I
that
Well,
shit.
some people are really open to us suggesting
Yeah.
those things, and some
It's
people
the
are
old
like,
heads.
"Stop telling me how to do my job."
Well,
old
they
heads.
got that too, but a lot of that stuff too, when they like implement stuff, it's just stupid. A lot of the stuff doesn't do anything. Like even the 5S thing, it does some stuff, but dude, I've worked at places where they have the 5S, like this box goes right in this corner,
yeah,
it goes
that,
in this,
and,
like it's fucking stupid.
The
It doesn't do
tape
anything.
eventually is just
It comes off,
Yeah.
and then they don't care about it anymore. It was just the initial process of doing something,
People
and
just
then it
go
just.
over there to fart on the spot.
Or if you worked at Amazon and going and fucking the pods, I mean that's another thing too.
Oh.
Well, that's like one of the best things about where I work is I can fart wherever and no one's gonna smell it because it
Nice,
smells
'cause
like
the
fucking
lead.
boiling acid and
Hey,
lead.
man.
You're like, what's that smell? Well, it's probably just some acid.
I
You
usually
can't hear
fart-
it either. You can rip like the loudest fart, and it's so loud in there.
Yeah, isn't it so hot? So it's like a sweaty, belching butt
yeah,
fart.
dude,
like
it's
like
Like
Soupy.
nice.
Ah.
That's
It's
paint the toilet and walk away. But like, I usually fart and call my supervisor over and ask him questions. That time.
just waiting for a response. Like you know he
You
smells.
notice
it.
that smell? Yeah, I don't know what it is.
I hate
man.
when I'm at work and I fucking rip ass and it stinks so bad. The one time it stinks bad and somebody
Oh, it's always.
happens to come over to me and fucking start talking.
Sup?
I'm like, oh, walk away.
make that
Walk
face.
away.
Sup?
Go.
I'm sorry.
It smells so bad.
But yeah, I mean, the forklifts, they're dangerous, man. And you get on one, you do that shit every day, and you forget about it.
Well, I will
You
say,
know, you totally forget what you're doing. You're just
dude,
on the
I got,
forklift, you know.
I got to the point where like we had a meeting about like when I was running forklift, they were calling it forklift cowboys, and I used to do shit like they would move one of the machines, it was all oily, and like, dude, that was a union shop, so a lot of times like I didn't do anything, and they're like, if we need you, we'll get you. So I would sit back and like read books and stuff. And when they moved this machine, dude, I spent 3 hours flooring it, hitting the grease and sliding, just whipping around.
Talladega forklift.
Dude, it was so retarded because the one guy used to bring cigars in for me on Fridays. So I had a big fat cigar in my mouth, fucking flying around in a fucking forklift. And just flying around, dude. This shit was retarded.
I'll tell you what, I've noticed a lot though. Like, I like the stand-up ones, but the sit-down ones, there's always
I much prefer that.
overweight pigs on them.
Oh,
And
dude, every place
it's
I've ever
like
worked.
half man, half forklift. Fucking
He's got the
forklift tar.
He's got like
Forklift tars.
They're just
he's
like,
got
Lift tar.
do you get in your car like
dude,
with that
he's got
forklift?
like the extension seatbelt
I've
clicked
never
in,
seen-
like.
yeah, it's like
Man has mended with
I know
machine
you have.
to create the ultimate lifting device.
You're a I work with a transformer, you know, and he sits on the forklift. But I think he's attached to it. Like, you could never.
He's fused to it?
Yeah.
Does it get like really out of breath when he gets on and off of it?
I've never seen him off of it.
Takes one step.
I've also never seen him go to his car. Maybe he drives that.
Does he go to the lunchroom?
I've never studied him that much.
You gotta pay
No,
attention.
what
We
he
gotta
does,
go
what
back
he
to this
does.
guy.
Now you're gonna pay
This
attention
This
to it
is-
though.
we gotta like pay attention to certain humans too, because we also gotta talk about this Honda Element motherfucker.
That is.
I was just out there today.
He's the Element's out there, but I was like looking at
There's
when I was.
two
No, there's
of them.
two. It's
Yeah,
not the
there's
one.
two.
I was just
With the
out there
busted
waiting
up
for
head
Matt.
cap.
Yeah.
Fucking hubcap.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
there's two
let's switch it. Let's switch off the topic.
Wait,
And
how long have we been on this?
I don't know yet.
Well,
I-
we should check.
Check real quick. Check on
Check her off.
check the meter.
We're trying to get this done.
41 minutes. So
Let's keep going, man. We only got 20 minutes to go. I can go all fucking day.
well, but I want to switch it to other
But then
things.
we
will.
We could
We
do
will.
like a half hour or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, that's
You can
fine.
always edit them together. And
So-
Yeah, I don't want to. Well, yeah, that's
So
true.
it would be
True.
two separate things. You don't want to. Like,
Here's what I really wanted to say about safety, and let's try not to get off topic again.
listen,
my
is this
big
table
thing-
safe enough for you?
Well, I don't know. I haven't expected the
Well,
other
I
side.
I think if you
The
were on this
undercarriage.
There's a pinch point, right?
Let's-
Yeah.
I
let's
think
see
if you were,
undercarriage.
Hold on,
I think if you were
calm.
on
Which
this
one
side,
underneath?
it wouldn't be so safe. This one, oh, this was
No,
actually
this is-
better than it
yeah,
was.
I don't think we had the jam.
No, it wasn't out all the way.
Jesus Christ!
Pull
I
your
got
jam.
interrupted. I
Pull
don't
your
wanna
jam
pull the
out,
fucking
though.
jam.
You're the safety committee.
There's too much stuff.
Anyway,
All right.
So, all right. So let's say you go to work every day. You don't want to hear that shit, and you don't want to listen to somebody who sounds like some nerd, you know, coming up to you and going, "Oh, you really got to watch
Excuse
what you're
me,
doing."
sir.
Right. But then,
But fuck this
then once
asshole.
you see something happen, you go, "Holy fuck!"
Yeah.
And then everybody starts
Well, the whole thing
listening a little more. But why do we have to wait for that long, like, for something to happen?
Thank you. You had a fucking.
That long pause.
The whole thing is you have to level with the person. Hey, now this
Dude,
will give
some
you
people
more
just don't
leverage
give a
of
shit,
saying, Look at what happened. Try to just be more safe.
Yeah,
you know what I
you
mean?
know, and
Like,
you can try to tell people stories. You can give them examples, and it doesn't.
but when it
necessarily
finally
work.
happens in the
Oh,
workplace,
God, and
then it's different.
It's always
Because
the
they
fucking-
think about it and they're like, oh man, I've never heard of that happening until you said something about
You know
it.
what's
what I
crazy
mean?
though? It's always the guy that fucking tells you that you're an idiot, and then it would never happen to him. That's
Yeah.
the guy that gets like severely injured.
Smashed.
Yeah.
He already is missing toes though, so he doesn't care.
Oh, dude, we got guys with half fingers and shit like that.
Yeah, that's
a lot of
like the
injuries-
most common
Yeah.
thing
Fourth
is
of
your
July.
fingers, your
Hand
digits.
fingers, yeah.
Yeah.
Fourth of
I mean,
July.
that shit happened to my dad or something when he was younger. He used to do construction and something happened where like a beam fell down onto his hand and it chopped off the tip of his.
Dude, it's the
His
most
finger?
con.
I never looked
I
at
feel like
It's
I,
one of it. It's
I
one
feel
of
like
a-
majority of men over the age of 50 have a missing finger, like guaranteed.
Oh, it's not
pretty
missing,
good.
but
Well,
like,
it's the tip of it.
I would
Tip of it.
say
It's always a
majority.
tip.
It's still there. It's like the time where I got my finger caught in my fucking bike chain. They chopped off the tip, and now it's like
Oh, yeah, I
it's
remember you
rolled
saying
like
that.
this.
Oh,
now.
from
Like,
yeah.
It's a little bit shorter, but like that's what happened to his. It just rolled.
Dude,
but-
speaking
I
of
wouldn't
that,
say majority. I'd say it's probably like good 30% chunk.
that's a fucking
Yeah.
big chunk of people, though, man.
I wonder if there's like a population statistic on missing fingers.
Let's fucking
Yeah.
look.
Males.
Dude, it's gonna be 4th of
Would
July.
it be like
taking
American males?
Taking the cake. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold it. I'm gonna hold it for
Population.
longer.
So, like-
Don't do that.
So I worked in a department where like I didn't want to hear any of that shit, and we worked hard, man. Like I worked in one of the hardest jobs there,
yeah.
and nobody wanted to hear any of that shit. And thankfully, nothing has happened in that
Yeah.
department that bad. You know, there's
But
been
if
like
it's a hard job, there's sometimes
like-
where you just have to you need to get it done because
yeah.
it's demanding.
Well, there's a safe way to do it, and I figured that safe way out by a combination of listening and not listening to my safety guy
Yeah.
when I was not a safety guy yet.
something
So,
that makes sense. Something.
Some
that
people
doesn't
need to
make
learn that. They need to learn how to like, listen to the safety guy, but like also
Is
still
that
do it in a way
yearly?
where you can still get it done. What does it say?
Is that yearly? Wait, there was 1,285,000 persons in the U.S. living with the limb loss, excluding
In 1996.
oh, excluding
And-
fingers and toes
You
though.
got
That's not.
fucking war and all that shit.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go in there because I don't think there's an actual statistic based on that, like graphs,
4th of
like
July,
how many
shit.
people get their fingers cut off at work. I mean, there might be actually, but
Anyway,
friggin'
so why can't you like do your job your own way, like the way you've always done it, but also
Keep in mind that there's
keep
a
in mind,
safer
and
way.
if like
Yeah,
if there's a rule, and here's another way to look at it too. If you don't want to look at it from a safety perspective, what's the good reason to get fired over it?
But there's
But
also
You know what I mean? Like,
There's
why
the
Here's
the
the
other
thing: were you that person before you had this job?
I never went that far. No.
But
No.
have you done
But
stupid
some-
shit? You've done
I did a
some
couple
stupid
stupid
shit.
things, yeah,
But-
and I also didn't agree.
And you
with
think about it now, like in
Yeah.
your position, thinking,
Oh yeah, I almost had a 2,000-pound basket fall on my foot once.
"Oh shit!"
But
Because
there's
of something I did. It
There's
was like-
another way to
yeah.
look at it. Safe, like safety guy. You tell a guy that's been doing that job for 20 plus years, never got injured. He's gonna get pissed if somebody's telling him how to do it. I don't know if
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I was saying too, and a lot of
It's
the
like,
times,
dude,
You gotta
fuck
watch-
especially
off.
if you're a new person.
You gotta watch
he's-
how you talk to that
Yeah.
guy.
well,
Yeah,
and then on
just be
top
like,
of
hey, you're doing a good job. Always start positive, and then be like, now
No,
I'm
no, and I do.
gonna smack you
And I
down
do.
a little.
And I'm literally
Don't
at
take
like
it offense.
I'm literally at 50-50 reception right now. It's
Yeah.
either like they're totally fine with talking to me and they want to listen to me, or it's
Yeah.
fuck you, you
Yeah.
fucking, you know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
Like
we
what
have
the
the
fuck
same.
do you know?
It's all the old heads, man. They don't want to.
Well, that's on day shift. On second shift,
yeah,
Are you on second?
I was for
Yeah.
years, and on second shift it was like I have to. All the people are under like I have to listen to the safety guy.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, there's a shithead.
Because those are lower.
Right.
Those are newer people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And plus, a lot of those people on second shift too are like, not to sound like a fucking dad here, but like there's a lot of kids that they come to where I work, and that's the first time they ever touched a tool in their life.
I worked in a
well,
cafeteria.
that's
you
a
know.
lot of the things
I
like
have
that
that
because
same
they get people when they're
scenario.
younger, and it's a lot of places will hire people too with no experience in anything because they don't have any bad habits
They
or
can mold
tactics. Yeah, they can mold into what they're doing.
We
and
also
stuff
just
like that.
where I'm at too is production is God and bodies are bodies.
Yeah,
know what I mean?
well,
They'll
especially-
fucking fire you in a week and they'll have 3 people. To
Yeah,
replace you.
production will do
See,
that.
We're not but we're union. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're not union.
Well, that's the reason you're not union though.
yeah.
They pay enough. They pay high enough wages where they keeps
To
the
keep
union
the
out
people
of there.
happy, but they could still
Do better with a
slave
union.
drive.
Oh yeah,
Oh, they slave
absolutely.
drive the shit out of people.
Yeah.
And this is why
I've heard
I don't want
horror
to mention
stories.
their names.
Yeah.
Because there's people been in the mandatory overtime for 3 years that they've only had holiday weekends off.
Oh, dude, there's no fucking way I would
Like
never
you
do
have
that.
to work one day every weekend, like no matter what.
Dude.
Yeah, hell no.
I become a
dick.
street
And
pharmacist.
that counts towards your normal attendance then too. So you can
Yeah.
get fired for
Oh,
attendance.
dude, that's not even worth the money because the money's not that good.
Because there's people that
Are you like? Are
they don't
you,
get to see their children.
Are you still
know?
hourly?
I'm hourly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so that's good because like, I don't know if you stay over the time.
I
that you're
do.
supposed-
Yeah, I get paid for it. You know?
That's what I mean. Like salary, dude. I've seen people that are salary
You get
that
fucked,
they're
dude. You get like fucking.
It sounds good.
Oh, they
Right
take
all
like,
the
dude,
way
it's
up to
like
the
half the
fuck-
time they
yeah.
take
But,
advantage
But
of
you
those
know,
people that
it
are on
depends though how that works though because some people that put on salary, like I worked with this last engineer at my last job, he worked just 8 hours every
Yeah.
day. So if he would leave a day early, he'd still get his pay.
Well,
But
that's-
usually what happens
You
is
stay overtime.
you're
and,
working
like,
constantly,
That's what happened with
and
Fuzz,
it ends
man.
up they end up
We
losing
can
I feel
money.
bad.
we could talk about that with Fuzz because Fuzz was a victim of that until that law came.
Oh, but
And
he
he
was
got, like-
making more than 25,000.
No, it was 32. It was
Wait, with
32.
what?
Oh, it was 32. I thought it was
With-
25.
With the companies that now.
Yeah, he's still there.
Oh yeah, no.
But he was gonna
I worked
leave.
with-
Well, that
He
was a
gonna leave,
mandatory
and all of a
law.
sudden, he got a $17,000 fucking raise, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm not leaving now."
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. 'Cause
But
I was
they have him
wondering-
working like when the fest. I'll just call it the fest.
Yeah.
happens.
The
I'm pretty
fest.
He
sure
works
'cause
80 hours a week when
I-
that happens for
yeah,
4
but
weeks.
that's
Really?
no. Oh well, yeah, the setup and shit. Because
Oh my god, dude!
I used
He's
to see him
gone
all the time.
16,
Canopies,
16-hour
like-
days every day.
Yeah,
Every day. For like a
but
month.
is he salary?
Right. He
Okay.
is. And he was getting fucked, man. He was
But-
making like 32 to
but-
do that. That sucks, dude.
But
That's
listen,
shit work.
He's not doing
Yeah,
it
you know.
all year round.
No.
It's just a crunch.
No, and he'll
crunch time.
he'll have a week where he works fucking 10 hours.
But
you know
there's
what I
no
mean?
reason for
Oh,
like
he goes,
him
oh
to,
yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
But if it's a trade-off, though, it's not that bad. Like if you're getting fucked on like the
80
backside of the
hours
deal,
is
but you're
not- 80 hours for a straight month is very harsh on the human
yes,
body.
but then if
Like,
see sometimes he's working 10 hours and he's still getting a full paycheck, like if it balances out to that point, it's really not that bad.
Because I worked for that same company, and I had to do.
I thought you worked for the subcontractor.
No,
there.
it's a sub, but it's like the food based of
Yeah.
what, not the actual event.
Don't name that one because that's a nation.
No,
that's
yeah,
a
no,
big
I'm
fucking-
not naming
It's a
anything,
big
but
bad boy company.
I'm saying
company.
I had to set up, like, I was working, I would wake up and I would work until 2, and it was the cleanup, it was the setup and cleanup. It sucked, but, like, I was making more money than, I mean, this was when I was, like, 20, so, like, it's still, it was good money, but it was only a week or 10 days, so it's not like it was ruining my life, like, I'm doing it all the time.
It's just you do it for that time period,
bust your
yeah.
ass for
Yeah.
a
Then
you go
whole
through a
week, and then
drought.
you're like, yeah.
Then you go through
Yeah.
a drought.
Well,
You
yeah.
get- you don't get fucking
there's
paid.
other-
But that's
There's
what
other
sucks about
festivals
doing
and
it
shit,
if you're
but-
not a salary. If
You're
you're
out.
salary, that would actually not be too bad because you're still guaranteed that money.
Yeah, like,
It's
if-
just how it plays out like
cram
that.
time that, because I'd rather get the same amount of money all year long
Yeah.
than just 10
Cut-
days,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But where people get fucked with salary too is like
They'll bust
production
their
and
ass.
manufacturing. Like people that are like engineers and
Especially
and
if
like
they implement a new product.
yeah,
You're
you're
just
there
sitting
all the
there.
time,
You're just
and you
trying
just
to
get
make it
that you get
work.
that base because they're
Which is something that-
they're above that cap when it got put in. Like what was it, 30,000? I thought it was 25, but it might be like 30,
I think
35.
it was like 30. If you don't make more than 32,
Yeah, you would. It would.
you were only allowed
Allowed
work,
that,
like,
so-
40 hours. A week,
Yeah, so if
even
you made a
it
little
is
bit more than
salary.
that, it would cut off, and you wouldn't get any
Something like
overtime.
that.
Yeah, I don't
But
know any of those
engineers
rules.
are guaranteed to
Never been
basically,
salary.
they're basically guaranteed to make more. They're, like say 45 is the starting point for an engineer.
Well, he came out $17,000 on top.
Well,
which is
yeah, because he's
fucking-
working that
yeah,
overtime.
Yeah, like it was like he got a huge raise. You know what I mean? That's huge. That's
Yeah.
massive.
No, absolutely.
Dude, our supervisors and engineers, they're easily like 60 to 75,000.
Well, for an engineer,
Salary,
yeah, it
that's-
should be.
that's
And
good.
like,
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
20 of that every year goes to their student loan, right?
well, if they're older,
Well,
or not,
I'm not
depending on what
debating
it is.
that. I don't.
Colin, if it was from the 70s, that shit was paid off in a week. This ain't. That's not a millennial problem. These
just-
it's a
you're
completely
just
different time
lazy.
period. Yeah,
Understand
I'm
that.
just lazy
Yeah,
and I like
I know.
free stuff. So
Dino never miss work. But
Don't
I could get a
all
brand new
lazy
muscle
pieces.
car for $1,200.
I'll mention
Now
avocado
it's
toast too.
45,000.
Avocado toast. It's always super important to throw when you say. Anytime you say millennial, you have to say avocado toast afterwards.
I thought you said.
I fucking love avocado.
Well, fuck yeah, dude! It's delicious.
Yeah.
If it doesn't have meat on it, you're not a man.
Safety is
You're not a
very-
real man.
very important. It's very important, and there's safety devices fucking everywhere.
It's
so
just-
when people go, whoa, why do I have to listen to you? It's like because you have this shit in your house too,
New
man.
sheriff in town.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do you realize
Yeah.
a lot of that safety shit? Depending, I'm saying most is probably really good.
Some
and,
of
like,
it, some of it is
is crap. It's crap.
We need this because we got sued before.
Yes, and you put it in there,
Yeah,
and it actually slows down the
Yeah,
rhythm of what they were doing
I know,
originally.
I know.
Where then it becomes that's another reason why
But
they
you
would
still
get
gotta
irritated.
follow- you got to follow.
You
it.
have to. I understand that.
Right.
It's just to them, it's like, dude, well now you're fucking with my numbers. Someone might come to me and be like,
No
why aren't you
2%
hitting
milk
numbers
on-
exactly
on
the same?
Workarounds. Well, why not?
What?
I got whole milk.
What?
No 2% milk on the workarounds. Well, you got whole milk. You're free to go. Jonathan.
I don't even understand what you're talking about. What is he
Makes
talking about?
made up rules. You know what I mean? Like, just make
Oh.
shit up that's.
Yeah. Well, it's-
Unnecessary.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of perception versus reality when you talk about how it slows things down.
Yeah.
A lot of people really think that, and then you
But
time it. You do a time study,
basically, it's
and
just
it
to them.
doesn't slow
It feels
down.
the same because they're used to like a rhythm of doing
Yeah,
something
it's
constantly. and
perception
it can't-
versus reality.
Yeah.
Muscle
Yeah.
memory.
Like it's like, oh man, that thing weighed like 400 fucking pounds, and you weigh it, and it was like 75 pounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was so heavy.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
like no, it's just like it was heavy, and you couldn't pick it up because you're a bitch. But
How heavy was it? So heavy.
yeah, like
So heavy.
so heavy. So I mean, you just gotta think about yourself and like maybe if you have no life at home and you're just gonna go home and
Drink Pepsis.
beat off.
Yeah,
You beat me to it.
you know,
Son of a bitch.
maybe you don't
Sexually.
care. Maybe you don't care. You know what I mean? Or maybe you're about to retire and you say,
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I caught that right at the end.
so like, it is what it is. But you gotta listen to the safety rules, man.
Yo, are you wearing a No Cash shirt? I have the same shirt.
Yeah.
Nice. Root of all evil.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Fucking No Cash 2005, bro.
Whatever.
Yeah,
No, I'm just saying. I
Giving
haven't even
where
seen a
credit's
T-shirt.
due.
Yeah, they were great.
I met that guy
They were great.
at a party once upon a time. He was a weird dude,
Yeah,
actually.
we played a show with him.
Yeah, he was really quiet, actually, and he was just like kind of strange.
Yeah. Well, I played a show
He
with him.
probably wanted you to blow him.
Well, he did a lot of blow.
Dude, no, yo,
Yeah.
it was me and Apple, and we were just drinking at this
Better
girl's
than
house.
arm darts, I'll tell
And
you.
dude, but the guy from No Cash, he was just out in the woods smacking sticks, like off trees and stuff, just roaming around, drunk as shit.
Really?
And I'm like, Apple,
That's not safe.
what the fuck is that guy doing?
He had to have been on something.
Well,
Do
he
you
probably
think
was.
wearing, all right.
And
let's
then I
go
was
to
at his
safety.
apartment
Do you
like
think
2
he was
months
wearing
later.
Safety glasses.
Yeah,
He
did
could
he
get
have a-
fucking
did he have
bark in
a
his
reflective-
eyes.
Dude, he wasn't being very safe.
Did
He
have
wasn't
a
being very
reflective
safe.
vest on so animals could see him?
That's definitely a deer. I'm gonna shoot him.
All right, let's end this here because this is going off the
I
rails.
think we should keep going on this one.
Dude,
Yo, you ever
What
think
about the steel tips? Did he have steel tips
Uh-huh.
on? Were they
I
up
always
to the
wanted-
ASTM standard?
Colin, you're going too far.
Oh,
You're going
come
too
on,
far.
man.
Going too far.
So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of into my job, but at the same time, I fucking don't like my job,
Well, nobody
and that's why we should be
Nobody
at work
really
right
likes
now.
their job.
No, maybe
Yes,
it's
we
not.
should be at work right now.
I went
I
to
don't
work.
actually mind my job, actually, to tell you the truth.
That's cool.
There's always going to be this part where people hate about their job. There's always a part that...
There's actually no part
there's-
about my job I don't really like right now. I mean, besides
But the
kind of
main
part,
thing that
but,
you like about your job is probably that you don't.
I like
the way
setting
that
up
you-
machines. I like
you
machining. I like
fucking
setting
with
stuff
that
up.
Shit. Like if I
Yeah.
were to go to school and become a mechanic, I would like going to go to
Yeah.
work on cars.
Yeah, but
even
if
though it's
you're-
a fucking pain in the ass half the fucking.
Well,
time.
yeah, there's
You know
that's
what I mean?
different ideas
That's
of
part
like
of
what's
fixing
pain in the
something,
ass.
though.
Exactly.
I know I'm not.
But I like working with my hands.
not-
and
so
shit,
do
you know?
I.
Yeah, it's part of fixing something.
And
you
I
know.
like figuring
You
shit
gotta
out,
lose your
like
shit a
going
little
through the
bit.
process of it.
Yeah.
And I
You're
know I'm
good.
not the first person to say that in a microphone.
Yeah.
Part of fixing something is you have to lose your fucking shit a little bit.
Yeah.
You have to
I have
Yeah.
hit hammers against stuff.
Yeah.
I thought that's
what
what was peace.
This is gonna fix it. Wailing it with a hammer.
Until you break it, and then you're just like, I wonder
Dude,
why I'm
actually,
pissed.
sometimes that does work.
Well, I work with metal, so I don't like. I can't really break.
Dude,
anything.
I'm
I could
s-
bend something, but like.
I'm so glad I don't run metal anymore. Like, I know when you send me that message,
well, I'm not
like,
machining. Or
well, I know,
anything,
but
I'm just,
like, I used to always machine metal, and that's all I machined.
You
And
machine now, plastic.
plastic. Oh, dude, it's so much better. I don't smell like shit every day. I mean, I kind of stink, but like when I used to run like cast
That's
iron,
just your balls, boy.
well, it was too. I would work in places that had no air. Dude, I'd be in like a coolant-filled machine, covered in sweat. I'm like, dude.
ball soup.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, my balls is like stuck to my leg. Like, I fucking hate
I think the
this.
favorite part.
We
though,
have for
probably,
dinner,
like
ball
metal
sack
shavings
now.
in your socks. Though.
Oh, dude,
That's my favorite.
I already had like an insert.
Like, this hurts.
I had an insert go into my boot, and I didn't know it was there. And over, I guess, a time frame, it actually worked its way up in my boot until it was stabbing me in the foot. And this is a sharp ass insert to cut metal, and it sliced the bottom of my foot. It was pretty great. It's good.
Always be aware of your surroundings. Wear proper PPE.
Yeah,
Lockout, tag
You should
out.
have sued.
yeah. I should have sued. I should have sued.
They should have told you that piece was on the floor, right?
Yeah, they should have. They should have.
They should have been there to tell you that.
Somebody saw it.
Listen to
Tell
you, company man. Company man.
I gotta go piss on the hopper. So we
No,
almost
the
done
hopper.
with this
So no,
episode.
it's like I want
Sectionally.
to hit an hour for our first episode because I fucking knew we could do this.
Oh yeah. It's
So
not
I think this is a cheers, boys.
Yeah, to the first episode.
Yes, sir.
ring a ding.
All right.